All right, empath community, you've been waiting for this one, okay? You've been waiting for this one. This is about the open secret that all healers, all empaths know. Okay, let's get it.
Yeah. I'm inspired. I'm inspired.
Hey there guys, how's it going? My name is Sumed Chatterjee from the Flow Zone Academy, and I'm a flow state coach, which means that I help you feel better and perform better. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about the open secret that's there in all empath communities, basically. As an intuitive, as an empath myself, I realized 2 weeks ago that I was born as an auto empath, meaning that I had a miracle birth, right? So I wasn't going to be born, there were complications, I had a C-section, all this kind of stuff. So I was already born into the world with that feeling of trauma and feeling unsafe, feeling really unsafe. And understanding that as I grew up, I started to naturally be an observer and an introvert and a caretaker for others. Like I would listen to others, I would take care of others. And I noticed myself repeating that pattern as I'm growing up, as I'm helping people on a different level. Of course, now I'm monetizing it, things like this. However, at the same time, it's like the still caring, empathetic quality is within me. And this is the secret that all empaths know, is that once they're more in their comfort zone, they're going to have better healing abilities. Because their comfort zone is helping others, healing others. That's just been their pattern growing up. They had to take care of one of their family members growing up, more likely their mother than the father, but sometimes even that. As you notice that, okay, you've been incarnated, right, on earth to do this, and you've chosen to do this, you've chosen to take on the role of the caretaker. Now, some people might be like, yo, that's a burden, that's a disability, right? That's a curse or whatever. However, this is actually a natural thing that us humans have. We have this skill set of intuition and intelligence. That's what made our cultures move forward. If we didn't have intuition, or this sixth sense, or the spidey sense, or ESP, right, extra sense, there would be not as much healing on the planet. You want to understand your role in the healing, okay? And also have a very strong understanding of self, but also strong understanding of the other and the universe. Once you understand that this is your own space, this is your own force field, you can then stay within your compassion, but not absorb yourself into other people's energies. And the way you do this is when you find yourself being tuned into other people's energies as an empath, like let's say your heart starts beating fast, or you start taking on maybe their ideas or memories, or you start, hearing things around them. Whatever you have, claircognizance, clairaudience, if you're clairvoyant, I don't know. But whatever clair you have, right, in that sense, you really want to understand that, okay, this is not mine. This is not mine, right? And the way you do this is through emotional attunement, that where is this energy coming from? And one thing that I do to ground myself as an empath is actually I go towards the back of my heart. So as I rest my attention to the back of my heart, I come back to my own sovereignty. And oftentimes it goes out of my head or out of my toes or whatever. And I just stay at that center point, that cause point, you could say, to be able to really make an impact. Now, this video by itself is going to shift you. Just try this going back to, the back of your heart. That practice by itself is super powerful. And also understand that what Carl Jung calls individuation doesn't happen for a lot of empaths, right? Because individuation means coming into yourself. For empaths, we don't have a concept of the self. We're this amorphous blob kind of going throughout the world. We're like the shapeshifters in a sense. So we're adaptable, we're freely resonators, right? We're resonators, we resonate and mirror what happens around us. So it's very important that first of all, you recognize that understanding and you keep your intention towards keeping a glowing halo around you. Now, this visualization has helped me as well. When I imagine a force field, almost like a ball, right, around you, you can still interact and You know, you can touch others, you can do whatever, but it's not going to affect you. That's the intention you want it to have. It's almost like it's like a plexiglass. It cleans off all the gunk, all the negativity, right? All the toxins, you could say, from the environment. So if someone says something toxic, it's going to get stuck to the plexiglass and you'll be able to just move it away. Now, whether this is true or not true, it just helps mentally to understand, and it actually does a great job as clearing out your aura or your auric field, if you want to even call it that. Of course, we're getting very woo-woo, but there is a connection towards empathy, growing up, and the patterns in one's household and their family. So sometimes these empathic skills can come down from our ancestors too. Like your great-great-grandfather might have been an empath, right? So it's important to understand that family dynamics we don't always see in the present moment, right? It's not something we can look back at, but our bodies hold the patterns of our past, like you have your great-great-great-grandfather's nose, for instance, perhaps. So we can use our bodies and our minds to explore what is really going on here, right? Different types of regressive therapies where you go back to the past, or you explore, you go back into your inner child again. These are really, really helpful because then now you're interpreting what is happening from that lens, and you can piece together the patterns. You can finally see the patterns out in the open like this. Family constellation therapy, gestalt therapy, psychodrama, drama therapy, all of these modalities of therapy and training, what they show you is they show you your family member there. And oftentimes it's either the practitioner acting as the family member or somebody else. So you have an unbiased opinion. If your actual family member was there, it's difficult to see because you have all these emotional attachments based on the memory, right? The thing about healing is it's not so much about the memories, it's about the emotional information in those memories. You see what I'm saying? So you want those emotional information in those memories come up, and then we just simply deal with those emotional intuitions, not exactly what has happened logically and left-brained in the actual occurrences, right? We can acknowledge that and we can understand what happened, but the greater healing is going to happen when you tap into those emotions, these emotional blueprints, okay? So this is something that I wanted to share with you. As a healer, I understand it might be complicated for you and you're living through these old patterns and you might feel stuck, but guess what? You're not stuck, you're just in your comfort zone, and that's where you work the best. You actually, when you start growing, you start to lose some of your empathetic abilities, you might understand, okay? That's okay. I do that sometimes. I'm on the pathway of growth, and then I'm coming back to the natural rhythm of things. And it's about fine-tuning and finding that sweet spot, that balance where you can tap into the physical and the metaphysical. It's never an easy process, but with empathic coaching or some kind of techniques and tools that you give yourself, the inner work actually gives you more weapons, right? Over time, you have more tools, more things to use, whereas earlier just growing, you're just healing. Time heals has an automatic thing that it does to heal, but what you're doing is, hey, I'm actually choosing to heal, and I now have the skill set, the utility belt, to handle whatever comes my way. So if you want more techniques and things like this, definitely shoot me a message and I will help you out. I've dealt with being an empath for a very long time because, hey, empaths are all old souls, right? It's like we are the ones that have been taking care of people for millennia. So, it's natural to us, but also start to understand, don't take your value away from you. You always have to stand by your value and know how much you are worth and come into your own beingness and come into your own sense of self. That's the hardest thing ever. For me, I've developed TPM for that. For others, you might be using different therapies or modalities or, methods like that. But the theatroplasticity method is really what has helped me to come into my own power, to understand that, hey, life is like a play. And the more I realize that, the more comfort it brings me, in a sense, because I am that shapeshifter. We all are. We all have an ability to be empathic, in a sense. It's a skill set. We can learn and tune our psychic insight in our ESP as well, right? We can train this muscle. So it's important to understand that, hey, you're okay, you're fine, you just got to do the inner work, you've got to clear some stuff out, and you've got to come into your own beingness, individuate, as Carl Jung says, by interacting with others and actually putting down your guards and practicing putting up your force field, in a sense, when it's necessary, all right? Have an incredible day. May the flow be with you and stay legendary. Let's get it today. Boom.